Hello everyone, this is Dagan Kettles, IT consultant to direct marketers on drdagan.com. Today I'm going to talk about load testing on some common web hosts and talk about a time when we blew up a server with traffic. These days, if you're planning a lot of traffic to a website, there are a ton of options in your tool belt. Recently I tested a couple. On the low end, I found that a $7 a month box like Bluehost.com handles about 125 people clicking around really fast on a dynamic database-driven website. At about that point, the page response times go from nearly instant to about 10 seconds, but it still functions correctly. I moved it up to 300 people, at which point there are 1-minute waits and the database connections max out. For a higher end solution, I tested Amazon's cloud-based servers with the same application, and under one configuration, it will support well over 300 users pounding the site like crazy while still serving up dynamic pages in less than 1 second. At 350 users, it creeps up to 2-second response times. And of course, with cloud servers, you can monitor your incoming traffic and dynamically spawn an unlimited number of servers to match your needs. Depending on your particular situation then, you might select from many different hosting options out there that range from small to the large and anywhere in between. The recent test I did reminds me of some earlier occasions when I've pushed a number of servers to their limits when working with direct response marketers. The first time I did this was back in the Wild West of the Internet and email marketing before the CAN-SPAM Act of 2003. At that time, you could buy a list of millions of email addresses, and with a well-crafted message, you would get a tremendous response rate. Back in the early days of email, people actually liked receiving email. It kind of reminds me of when I started in college. Back then, I got my first mailbox with a little glass window, and I loved looking through that window on a daily basis to see if I got something. Even junk mail was exciting because it somehow validated my existence, and crazily enough, I'm still a holder of those same credit cards and services that I signed up for from that mailbox, even though it's been 2 decades now. So talk about the lifetime value of a customer. At any rate, buying an email list 10 years ago and dropping a sales message to it could get a very high response rate. In one of my earliest projects with the direct marketers, I was asked to supply a server, create an e-commerce enabled site, and put the box and application into a small hosting facility. I was really happy to get that contract because I'd recently finished using a server at my house that had previously been dedicated to hosting student accounts for a web development class I was teaching at a local university. That server had actually been hacked and needed to be reformatted and needed to have its web server reinstalled anyway. At the time I was teaching web development, and I didn't know as much about port scanners, firewalls, and hacking as I did just about basic development. Well, I got the box all set up with the new application and brought it over to the hosting facility, and I was met there by an experienced IT guy who knew about how to protect boxes from hackers. He ran scans on my box, showed me the vulnerabilities, and helped me shore things up. Once that was done, the direct marketer who hired me, who I'll call direct marketing guy, was ready to drop an email to millions. One other thing worth talking about was the security on our credit card order form, or rather the lack of it. One thing I told direct marketing guy was that we needed to put a secure certificate on the site so that the people who bought stuff wouldn't be passing their full names and addresses along with their credit card numbers in clear text across the internet. Anyone with a traffic sniffer in the right place could theoretically read our customers' information. Furthermore, I figured that anyone filling out the order form on our site would see that the secure icon was missing in their browser and that our sales were going to take a hit. I told this to direct marketing guy, and I'll never forget his response. He said to me, quote, "If they notice that they aren't on a secure page, they aren't our kind of customer." In other words, if they were technology gurus, they weren't the right target market for this offer. I remember thinking inside that this guy was either borderline evil or he was extremely savvy and understood well the type of customer he was targeting with his offer. I don't remember what the offer was now, but chances are it was something business opportunity related. In retrospect, direct marketing guy really was extremely savvy about his prospective customers. What I started to understand at this time was that there are 2 worlds or paradigms to be reckoned with when doing IT for direct marketers. The first is the paradigm of how to do software development the right way according to a computer scientist. In general, they have a list of best practices and requirements that require quite often a lot of time in terms of delivery and cost in terms of cash, things which both have important impacts on organizations. Whenever software guys talk about doing it right, it could break the bank in terms of cost, or it may never get done in the time frame that actually matters, but hey, you can claim that you did it right. On the other hand is the world of the direct marketer. They don't understand the rules of right and wrong as defined by a data center manager or a software architect, but they do understand their business. They understand what opportunities are possible within a given niche, within a given budget, and most importantly, within a given time frame. As I look back over the years, I see between $20 and $100 million in business that could never have been transacted if we had followed the common rules of software development. And I think that is why working with direct marketers is so much fun, because you have to discern between what is important and what isn't in a way that you may have never thought of before. Developing for marketers is somewhat analogous to constructing a race car from existing resources. You want the best, most cutting-edge equipment in your car, but you might cut out stuff that increases weight, like the radio, back seats, or the side airbags. Now these days I would never compromise customer security like I did on that first email drop, but I do find a thrill in the challenge of taking what I know about working in structured environments where I manage credit card gateways or develop bank sites for some of the largest banks in the world, and I think about what pieces to keep, what pieces to add, and what pieces to discard from that kind of environment. Getting back to the email drop, here's what happened. A marketing message was sent to millions of emails, and our site virtually disappeared. For days, anytime we visited the website, it took several minutes for the site to bring up the page with the order form. The server was crushed with traffic, and for me, that was pretty much the end of the story. I don't think we ever drove traffic to that site again because we moved on to other projects. One thing that I'm sort of curious about is whatever happened to that physical server. A couple of years later, I think we checked and the site was still serving up pages, and there wasn't a single change to anything that was on there. That box got left there like a broken car abandoned on the side of the road. Well, that's all for today. If you have any questions or comments about something I discussed, please leave me a comment or send me an email. If you want to be notified of more videos like this, be sure to click subscribe, and to be notified of other posts like this, go over to drdagan.com and subscribe to my newsletter.